Hey everyone, welcome back to Lawyers Mediators International Show and Podcast, LMIpodcast.com. I am back with Colin Rule, who is joining me today to discuss some of the upcoming events relating to ODR 2026. That is ODR2026.org. All right, so Colin, good morning. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks so much, Mac. Excited to talk about this.
So today is specifically Friday, May 8th, and we're coming to you today specifically because in a couple days on May 10, the prices are going up for ODR 2026. And so we want to just get the word out in the last minute to let people know, hey guys, this has been announced for months. Actually, it's been announced since last year, 2025, but we want to let people know that it's still not too late for you to get on board and show up in Boston, Cambridge, Harvard, Suffolk Law School, a
Mhm.
lot of places up in the Northeast where we're going to be talking about ODR and mediation generally, but tech and mediation more specifically.
Mhm.
And so we have Colin here to just give us the play-by-play of what's going to happen at the event. And I'm going to share my screen, but Colin, can you go ahead and just tell us what is ODR 2026 and what is it all about?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mac. Yeah. So this is actually the ODR Forum, is what we've called it since its earliest days. Ethan Katch convened us for the first time back in 2001 at the Palais des Nations in Geneva, and we've met every year since, all over the world. I saw you just snapped up last year, and it was great to see you there. We were in London together for that conference, and Graham Ross hosted us. It was a great gathering. But yeah, we've met in every corner of the globe, from Buenos Aires to Cairo to Vancouver to Prague. Last year we had a wonderful time in Greenwich in London, and we had great turnout. And this year, for the first time, we're going to be doing it at Harvard University, which is going to be really fun. And I think this year is going to be very special because we're going to be celebrating the father of ODR, Ethan Katch. And AI is the hottest topic. So we've got a lot of participation from Harvard professors, from MIT professors. I think we're going to have about 30 countries represented there. So it's going to be a wonderful time. I'm really looking forward to it. And thank you so much for doing this episode to talk through the agenda, because I think it's just packed to the gills with great presentations.
Yes. And so last year was a lot of fun. I was there in London and it was my first time attending an ODR forum event. It
Great.
had been going on for years. But yeah, because it was out in Europe, I didn't want to take the missed opportunity to get out there. And so folks can check out this video that I'm playing on my screen on lmipodcast.com. It's where we kind of went in depth into the event, folks I met there, the things we talked about, and all the stuff that I learned. And so I got a chance to take it back to Texas and apply it to my own practice. So I'm really looking forward to this coming year in um, Boston. And it's going to be awesome. So this is the website. This is the landing page that you've
Mhm.
set up for
Mhm.
this year's event. Folks can head over there to odr2026.com and check out all the different things that are being announced there
Mhm.
and the speakers. And of course, you can get your tickets. And again, prices are going up in a couple of days. So you got to get in there and get your tickets so that you can go and participate. And I know you're going to be doing a whole lot of things that are going to be fun, actually,
Oh yeah.
going to the
Oh
games,
yeah.
doing tours. So if you've ever wanted to go see Harvard up front and personal and take a walking tour there, it's going to happen. Okay, so lots of excitement there. But let's go over to the actual structure,
Mhm.
and I'll bounce back to the other tabs in a second. But here is the actual agenda. Could you give us the overview? How many days, and what are the major things that will be discussed, and where would people be staying?
Absolutely. Well, we've got kind of a rhythm to these forums because we've been doing them for so long. And we spend a lot of time just hanging out together, and it's such a wonderful community. I can't wait to see all my friends because I've been going to all these conferences for the last 25 plus years. The way that we structure it is the first day of the formal agenda is June 11th that you're showing there. And
Yes.
I'll get to that in a minute. But most people come in the day before. So we actually have a whole day of activities on the 10th, which are just fun activities.
Yeah.
We're going to get a tour of the Massachusetts State House. We're going to get a tour of the MIT campus. We're going to get a tour of Harvard Yard and the Harvard campus. And so people, they got in at different times, so people can join in whenever they like. And all those activities are listed on the ODR2026.org website, so you can sign up for anything that you can make. And I know you're
Yes.
going to be joining us for our special fellows dinner
Yes.
celebrating Ethan Catch at the Harvard Faculty Club on the night
Yes.
of June 10th, which is going to be a lot of
Yes.
fun. But then the day of the conference that you've got here, we're meeting at a
Yeah.
new conference center that they just
Yeah.
built at Harvard. Yeah, the Rubenstein
Like it.
Treehouse.
Yep.
Beautiful facility. I mean, huge windows, and it's brand spanking new. They just had
Yeah.
their cold open a couple months ago, and we're going to be one of the first big events that they host there. So it's a 1-day conference, the ODR Forum this year. That's because we have another conference the next day that's happening at Suffolk. But essentially, what you see in the agenda is we're co-sponsoring this with the Program on Negotiation at Harvard. So Ethan and Leah from the National Center for Technology and Dispute Resolution are going to welcome us. And then Nicole, who's the executive director of the Program on Negotiation, is going to welcome us as well. And then Chris Gibson, who's a professor at Suffolk, who's really managing the next day, he'll welcome us as well. And then our first panel, I think we are talking a lot more about negotiation at this
Hmm.
conference than we have in forums in the past, because obviously Harvard Law School is the home of the Program on Negotiation. So we've got Corey, who's a great professor, very passionate about negotiation training out here in San Francisco. He's going to be moderating. And then we have Hannah, who is amazing, from the Harvard Kennedy School, has done a lot of work on gender and negotiation.
Hmm.
Samuel, his nickname is Muli Dinar. He's from
Hmm.
MIT, and he's been a fellow at the Program on Negotiation. And then Dwight Golan, who really is maybe the #1 negotiation trainer in the U.S. from Suffolk. And that we're actually meeting the panel later today to further refine our plans. But obviously, artificial intelligence completely changed the way that people negotiate and the way that we need to train negotiators. So that's the first panel. Then Leah and Dan are going to talk about our new iCoder AI guidance, which is a document that just came out. And I think everyone's going to want to participate in that session, because this really obviously is changing the way online dispute resolution works. And I think they did an
Yep.
amazing job with that guidance doc. And then we've got a session on ODR in the courts, which is mainly what I'm spending my time on these days. But we've got Nico and Juan Camilo, who are coming in from Colombia. They're doing amazing work down there in the courts. Ayelet Sela, another NCTDR fellow, professor from Bar Ilan. We're actually working together with Stanford Law School in the courts in Los Angeles. And then we have Judge Tian from Singapore, who's going to be talking about the latest developments over there, because Singapore is absolutely on the bleeding edge. So I'm fascinated by that. I can't wait for that session. And
Yeah.
then we are very fortunate to have as our keynote Beth Novak. And I urge you to look at Beth's. I can't even pack in half of the things that she's done in her
Yeah.
life
She's right here.
because she's amazing. Yeah, and if you go to the agenda, to the speakers page, you can see a little
Sure.
bit about her. She was the former deputy CTO of the United States government. But she also has done an enormous amount of consulting and work for the UK. She is the chief AI officer for the state of New Jersey. And she's also a professor at Northeastern University, which is in Boston. And she runs something called the Gov Lab, which is applying artificial intelligence to the public sector. So
Hmm.
she is amazing, and I could give her the whole day, and I'm sure she could fill it with lots of interesting. She's involved in so many projects, but she's going to be
Cool.
talking really about where AI is headed, not only in just dispute resolution, but also in the legal system writ large. So I'm very excited about that keynote. Then we've got a series of breakout sessions. Again, each of these are amazing. Jennifer Shack from RSI in Chicago is going to be talking about their ODR standards for courts and
Yep.
improving communication. Dorcas, who is from Singapore and an NCTDR fellow, is going to talk about online communication and how it shapes negotiation behaviors. And then Zbinek, who hosted us in Prague 2 years ago, is going to be
Mhm.
presenting with internet legend Doc Searles, who was one of the authors of the Clue Train Manifesto, a
Mhm.
very influential internet document. Is going to be talking about this new My Terms program. They're very interested in open source ODR. So That's happening in one room because we're dividing our main room into two for these
Okay.
breakout sessions. And then on the
Okay.
other side, we're going to have Bob Bergman talking about the great work he's done at Next Level Mediation, and also his anonymization tool that he's provided that mediators can use to ensure confidentiality no matter which LLM they use. And then Sarah Hourani is going to be talking about the legal validity. She's our NCTDR fellow, legal validity of arbitrator AI for evidence evaluation. And then Michael Fong, actually, it's not just ODR in China. He's talking specifically about some of the ways that ODR is being applied to IP stuff in China. So that's going to
Cool.
be an amazing session. So we just needed more spots. So that's why we decided to do one session of breakouts. And then in the afternoon, obviously, AI mediation is the hottest thing in the field right now. We've had
Yes.
companies like Dispute.ai, like the Mediator.ai, like botmediation.com.
Mhm.
So what does this mean if we're going to have AIs, resolving cases? The Mediator.ai is actually selling AI mediation for $4.99 a piece.
Yeah.
And it's amazing the power of that tool. So Renee, who's the CEO of Dispute.ai, she's going to participate in that session along with John Landy, who's the guy who created RPS Coach, which I think is the most
Yeah.
sophisticated AI mediator out there. And then Morgan Tregenza, who is the CEO of Levelheads, which is a mediation service provider in Colorado. She's going to round out that panel. So, it's going to be interesting to see where all of this AI stuff is leading us. Then this next session is interesting because I don't think many of us in the ODR field know much about digital public infrastructure. But David Porteous, I've been talking with him. Chitu and I have been talking with him for the last 15 years about
Mhm.
DPI. And he's done work all over the world building this digital public infrastructure. If you think about the public infrastructure in the United States, what sort of elements undergird our civic society? Well, David has worked with a lot of leading organizations on trying to think about digital public infrastructure. So he's bringing in his panelists, from the UN Office of Digital Emerging Technologies. Christopher Harrell is going to be coming in from the MasterCard Policy Center, and Chitsu's going to be on that panel too. So I think this is going to be really interesting for ODR folks to think about how do
Yeah.
we fit in, because David's argument is that ODR is essential to digital public
Mhm.
infrastructure. So and then I'm going to be doing a conversation at the end of the day with Lisa Kloppenberg, who's the former dean of the Santa Clara University Law School. She's a big, big thinker about the future of ADR. And I'm going to also be joined by Chuck Duran, my good friend, who runs MWI, Mediation Works International. And we're going to talk about, okay, if technology is now involved in pretty much every mediation and arbitration case, does that mean that ODR all ADR is now ODR? And what does that mean for training? What does that mean for standards? What does that mean for the field moving forward? And then we're going to have our conference wrap up. Ethan and Lee are going to summarize the day. And then we've got a lovely reception with a ton of food and an open bar, to celebrate Ethan and his contributions to the field. So I'm so giddy with excitement about all of these sessions. I can't even contain
Well,
it, but I
that's the
appreciate
first.
you giving me a chance to talk through it.
Yes.
We've had many, many more proposals than we can accommodate, but I think this agenda is the creme de la creme.
Well, yeah. Well, this is just the first day, right?
That's just the first day, right? I mean,
Yeah.
because I'm only facilitating the first day, I think we've really
Yeah.
been able to tune it so every minute is going to be valuable. But
Yes. And so,
yeah,
yeah. Before I get to the second day,
please.
one thing that we're also announcing is the "Can ODR Change the World" film, the documentary that we're doing about online dispute resolution. And so, folks can head over to lmipodcast.com/film, where we kind of give a little bit of a teaser and
I'm so
um,
excited about this movie. I
get all the
cannot wait.
different speakers, people who have known about this for years to discuss. I'll just please for about a few seconds.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be really exciting. So we're set to launch it right during the same time the event's going on. And it'll be on YouTube, and folks can check it out and watch it from the comfort of their homes. And then we go back to the next day at Suffolk. So, what's going on at Suffolk Law School on that Friday?
Absolutely. So the other piece of this, which is great, the second day, obviously Thursday is going to be happening at Harvard, as I said, in the Rubenstein Treehouse.
Yes.
Friday is going to be happening at Suffolk Law School, which is right downtown, right off of Boston Common. And this is called the Arbitration and Mediation in the Age of AI Conference.
Yep.
And it's hosted by the American Arbitration Association and by Suffolk. And again, I've closely coordinated with Chris Gibson, who's a professor who put the agenda together at AAA, so that our 2 days can be very complementary. So you can see
Yeah.
we meet at Suffolk. There's going to be a continental breakfast, and then we're going to be
And
welcomed by the dean.
and
Yeah,
but let
please.
me interject before you go through the agenda. The web page that people can get to,
Mhm.
they can quickly get to the ADR.org's page that discusses this by just going to ODR 2026. And of course, when you scroll down, you'll be able to, again, get your tickets for that event as well. So everything
Absolutely.
is right there in one spot on ODR2026.org. That's the quickest way to get to all of this. All right, please continue.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, and you can scroll down there too. Again, amazing agenda. I think because this is being co-hosted by Suffolk Law School and by AAA, I think this day is going to have slightly more of an arbitration flavor to it.
Yeah.
But again, just amazing presentations across the day, and a lot of the leading minds from the American Arbitration Association are going to be coming in. So Christine, my good friend, is going to be welcoming everybody along with the dean of Suffolk and then Chris, who's our host for the day. And then you'll see the first session again. It goes right into arbitration. What is the role of AI in where arbitration is going? So Greg, my friend, is going to be moderating the session, but the American Arbitration Association last November released the digital arbitrator, and Diana, AAA's chief technology and innovation officer, really led that charge. So, and then David, who's an expert on AI and arbitration, and then we've got Ken, who's and the main thing that's focused on right now is construction cases. So that's why Ken can speak persuasively to that. So that's going to be really great, and you'll see a hands-on demo of, I think, the most powerful AI arbitrator ever built. AAA
Mm,
spent millions of dollars building this with McKinsey through their Quantum Black program. So I think that's going to be a really interesting session because there were a lot of unexpected developments since that launch last November. So
cool.
then you can see the next session is focused on governing AI in dispute resolution. And Chris is going to moderate that with Sasha, who's the general counsel at AAA and an expert on some of these governance topics. But then we've got Chris Draper, who many of us know, NCTDR fellow. Chris and Leah and Dan recently wrote a book about governing AI. So that should be a really high-powered session too. And I think it's going to build on the session that Leah and Dan did the day before as well.
Yep.
So, and then for the keynote at lunch, Chris has got Stacy Strong, one of the most outspoken people about AI and dispute resolution. One of the things I love about Stacy is she is not scared to criticize, and highlight some of the challenges of the era that we're entering into. And she's just a fantastic presenter. So I'm looking forward to that keynote as well. And then we've got a session that I'm moderating in the afternoon, AI and the Future of Mediation Practice. Dwight is again coming back. And then we've got Tracy, who's the head of the mediation program at AAA. We've got Eugene McKee, who's coming in from ClaimBright. And then we've got Orna coming in, obviously NCTDR fellow, legend, co-author of Digital Justice with Ethan. So I'm really excited about that one too. I think
Cool.
there's going to be great discussions about that. And then also the American Arbitration Association made a big a support commitment to Suffolk Law School to build out technology for family dispute resolution. And I think this is going to be a readout on the progress of that project, which has been going for a couple of years at this point. John Casey, who actually runs the ODR clinic at Suffolk, was the former chief justice of the family courts in Massachusetts. So it's going to be great to hear from him. Bob's going to be facilitating it. And then we've got Gabrielle from Boston, who's just a legendary family mediator. And then Jackie Harvey, who's been very involved with everything that's rolling out at Suffolk. And then we've got very exciting Judge Javier Rodriguez, federal judge from Texas, who's been very, very outspoken. He's an MIT alum, I think. He is going to come and talk about artificial intelligence and the federal judiciary. And then the last session is sort of looking ahead. Where's this all going? And it's going to be Chris and me and Bob sort of wrapping up everything from the day. And then we've got a lovely networking reception again at Suffolk. And then we actually have we bought a big block of tickets to the Red Sox game. So
Mhm.
if anybody who's coming to the conference has not attended a game at Fenway, they call it the Temple of Baseball. Mac, I'm an old Rangers. I grew up in Dallas, so I'm an old Rangers fan. So I'm excited. It's Red Sox versus Rangers. I don't care who wins because I love both of the teams, but
Yeah.
that you can't go to Boston without getting a little baseball in around the edges. So I think so. Again, it's going to be an incredibly rich day. We're going to be changing the venue. Changing the focus just a little bit, but I'm super excited about day two as well, and it fits in with the day one hand in glove.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so excited about this. And you got people coming from all over the world, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, from India, from Africa, from Europe, from Asia, from South America. It's going to be a very, very international gathering. But it's great to be in Boston too, because we can draw on Northeastern University, BU, BC, Harvard, MIT, Suffolk. I mean, it's such a
So
great
much.
dispute resolution city, and we have some of the leading minds from the world. I
Yes.
mean, the dispute resolution movement in the United States would not be what it is without the program on negotiation at Harvard, and we're really honored to have them as a co-sponsor. So,
Yes, yes. So lots of things I'm looking forward to. This David Rubenstein building is looks amazing. This tree house. I'm not sure why they call it a tree house
I don't
for.
know. Maybe that's what they were aiming for with the architecture,
Yeah,
since it's sure in the
yeah,
clouds. So, but
yeah. But it's gonna be
it's a great facility for sure, and
yeah,
they've been so wonderful. I mean, such lean forward on coming up with creative ideas to make us more comfortable throughout the day.
yeah.
So, I think it's going to
And
be great.
you went to Harvard, correct?
I did. I went to the Kennedy School, which is just right across the Charles River from the Rubenstein Treehouse. Larry Summers, when he was the head of Harvard, bought a bunch of land on the other side of the river.
Yeah.
So they call this the Alston campus. It's right next to the business school.
Okay.
So it's beautiful, totally new. And there's a gorgeous hotel right next to the conference facility called the Atlas Hotel, but it's quite expensive. So one of the things that we've done is we partnered with Lesley University, which is right next to Harvard, and we've
Yep.
rented a dorm. So because the hotel prices in Boston are so crazy, so you can sign up on the website if you want to stay in the dorm with us, and it's going to be a little bit of a flashback to our college days. It's not exactly a luxury 5-star hotel, but it's got everything that we need, and they do this in the summer, kind of rent it out to groups. So,
Yeah.
we'll get our fresh sheets and fresh towels and brush our teeth together at the hall bathroom, but so I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see friends and hang out and talk about all the latest and greatest.
Yeah, well, this is why we're doing the documentary because there's a untold story about this whole ODR movement that goes back decades, and people don't know about it, right? So I'm super excited to just get the word out, and this is gonna be, I guess, my little magnus opus to try to let people know,
Oh, man.
about
Everybody
this.
is so excited about your documentary, Mac. It's gonna be great. We can't
Yeah,
wait to premiere it and, have everybody see it. And, it is kind of an untold story. I think those of us
yeah,
in the ODR field kinda know the
yeah.
milestones, but I can't wait to see what everybody else thinks about all of the events that occurred. So I can't thank you enough. Boy, it's so much work to put something like that together. So
Tell me about it. Every day and every night, it seems. Okay, and then on the last day, I believe you guys will be announcing where it's going to be in 2027.
Yep.
Is that's a tradition, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can actually give you a preview because I had
Oh,
dinner last
great.
night with our host for 2027. So it's going to be in Tokyo next year.
Oh,
And
wow,
Mayu
cool.
Watanabe is going to be hosting us, who is just also a member of the
Yeah.
ICODER board, member of the ODR field for many, many years. And I know she's going to do a fantastic job. But my job is to make this one so great that she is going to have an
Yes.
impossible task of trying to exceed it. So yeah,
Yeah,
get ready to fly to Tokyo for 2027. But the
absolutely.
last thing that I do want to mention, because I don't want to take too much of everybody's time, but we are doing a hackathon the last
Yeah.
day, the Vibe ODR hackathon. And
Let me
again,
share my screen about that.
yeah, this is mainly, we're inviting students from across Boston, but we're inviting, anybody. who wants to actually use these new AI tools. So everybody's going to get unlimited Claude Code credits, and different teams are going to build initiatives all day. We've arranged to get unlimited pizza and coffee for everybody, and then we're going to give out some iPads to the winners. So and it's award-winning pizza. So the diet starts Monday, but I think
Yeah.
it's going to be really fun. We're doing this at Suffolk University as well. A lot of people kind of come in, leave the last day. They can't stay for the whole day. So this is totally free. You can just come by and hang out. We do have a couple presentations, sort of talking about the latest and greatest in ODR to kind of get people up to speed. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a wonderful end to the conference, and hopefully we'll inspire the next generation to build ODR tools that'll power us into this next era.
Yes, and so unlimited Claude Code, unlimited coffee, unlimited pizza. Who can
Yes.
beat that? You know?
I said my son is helping me out with the meeting because he lives in Boston, and I was like, "How
Yeah,
much coffee do you think we need to get?" And he's a big fan of nitro cold brew, so he's like, "We're gonna get a ton of nitro cold brew and have it for people to have alongside their pizza." So it's gonna
cool.
be a wonderful time, and Mac, thank you so much for coming, and thank you for
Yeah,
doing this episode to feature what the plan is. But we welcome everyone. Yes, the ticket prices are increasing on May 10th, but it's
yes,
not crazy increase. It's a little increase, but we
yes.
just wanted to incentivize people to register.
Take advantage now.
So if
Yeah,
anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. My email is crule@odr.com. And the other thing I'll mention is we do have some scholarships available, and it's a much lower price for students because we want to get as many students as we can at the event. So um,
yes.
please join
I did
us.
see
Yeah,
yeah, I saw a lot of students in London last year at the event, so I was surprised, and so
that's right.
it's a good thing you guys do to let the next generation know that they can participate in this, for low cost and then learn the future of ODR.
For sure. Rub
Alright,
elbows, rub shoulders with the leading minds in ODR. Yeah, and get inspired.
exactly. Alright, Colin Rule, thank you so much for coming on the LMI podcast to discuss this upcoming event. I'm looking forward to it, and we'll be glad to see you in person again.
Thanks, Mac.
Alright. Alright, take care.